No. Is that when we get to new business it has unlocked it.
It's like 40.
All right.
We'll behave.
Yeah. We're going to call to order the November 16th meeting of the Town of Somerville Design Review Board. We have a few members that are not able to be here, but we do have a quorum. Is there an approval of the October 19th meeting minutes or a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, first is signs, the Bullwinkle orthodontic sign.
All right, so this is a request for a replacement of the existing Bullwinkle orthodontic sign at Edward Jones. The proposal would look like this. The question at hand is whether or not it can be internally illuminated. The property zoning, the town zoning ordinance limits internal illumination to GB and UCMX. This is neighborhood business or neighborhood mixed use. So you have approved an illuminated sign across the street for, I believe it was Cox Orthodontics. Reagan
Orthodontics.
Yes, sir.
Little and Jackson.
Basically directly across the street. So that's the request before us, is whether or not it can be illuminated internally.
Any objections to this application?
No.
Is there a motion for approval?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
Next is 446 Linda Way, proposed construction of an amenity center.
All right.
Is applicant here? Oh, applicant's not here. Okay, we'll move that to, anybody have any objections with this? Or did you?
I think it's fantastic just the way it is. We'll approve it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty.
Who did the second? Was that Bill? Thank you.
Next is the Dorchester County Coroner's Office.
This is gonna be a tough one.
All right, give me 1 second to catch up here. We're moving fast. So this is a request for final approval of the proposed new Dorchester County Coroner's Office. The property has been rezoned to public lands, and it is they were last at the board September 21st. Based on staff's comments, the property was reviewed by the board in addition for the addition of the temporary mobile offices. The mobile offices are being removed and a permanent coroner's office will be constructed. Currently, they've replaced the temporary office with a new temporary office on the other side. The plan is to expand and make a campus. The design of the building is the only aspect of the plan to be reviewed by the board. Finished materials for the building include brick, hardy panel trim board, and standing seam metal roof. The brick on the sides of the building has been lowered to a short water table element. The metal ribbing has been removed from the front facade, and the colors provided to match the existing EMS building next door. So I will turn it over to Ms. McEwen here and allow her to present any things she'd like to highlight.
Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, all of you. Good to see you guys again. If you recall, the first time we went to the board, it was a complete duplication of the EMS board, and the board told us then that they weren't all that fond of that building, but the county wanted to keep the cohesiveness of a campus feel for this property. This property is going to have the EMS building, the coroner's office, and a possible third in the future, about 5 or 6 years down the line, maybe some type of a community or a health service. So with that in mind, knowing that you guys did not necessarily care for the EMS building and you asked for some tweaks and some changes, we went ahead with a different look, keeping the same type of components. The county really wants it to look like the EMS building more. So this is why, like Tim mentioned, we're presenting back to more or less the original look, but with all your changes taken into consideration. Tim, if you go to the next slide. So this slide here, again, just to remind everybody what the site looks like. The EMS building is in the middle and the new coroner's building, not going to have a red roof, but it's depicted as a red roof here. Next slide shows you, we have Elliot working on the civil right now. So right there with the walls inside, that's the coroner's office now, or will be. The temporary trailers that Tim was referring is directly to the left, which is kind of the northwest from that side parking. So completely out of the construction zone. And of course, our project manager, Butch, who's also here, took care of that. So this is how it's going to sit on the property. So if you go to the next slide. So this is the new and improved based off of all your comments from the very first meeting. So what we're doing here, the front is about a 58 with 2-foot overhang on each side, front and the back. We have a 4-on-12 roof. It's a batten lock, standing seam roof batten lock. Something that you guys did not like, a takeaway, is that we were going to incorporate all 3 materials, or I should say 4 materials that are on the EMS. We eliminated the one, so it has more of a slimmer line in the front. And Tim, if you go down one more time, 2 more times, sorry, 1 more time. All right. That's the July submittal. Of course, it was our mistake. We didn't notice the windows were not high enough. That was just an oversight. They were meant to be higher. But we had like 3 different things, and you guys said don't make it so matchy. So if you go to the next one, Tim, next one, that was September's. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So this was September's, and now we're okay. So this is where we're at today, and I also have a color one coming up. So to remind everybody, the MS building. So we've taken the original design, which is going to be in the center of the property. So that's why we have it centered with a gable. We have the same brick, which I remember a certain board member loved red, so that's back. The green is gone, except instead of the green, which is a patina color, we can't really match it after 15, 20 years of being in the sun anyway. We're going with a softer green color, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. And it's not going to be on the metal, it's going to be on the party. So this is the green. This is the greens that I have selected that might look good with that letter. And let me just representation of the white party. That's going to be on the side and that top. And this is the green that's on the inside, which we all kind of So we would like to introduce some softer kind of green next to it, and maybe something that is big, but if you better than this. We would want a softer green, so the town has a piece of paper campus, the same brand, more updated lines on the storefronts, the same lettering, which really is all pencil. Same lettering, for the sign up there, and we did a cleaner, one color, so 2 foot opening, and we had 15. I'm sorry. Yes, with all the improvements of the first one and not up in the. So we're still gonna have some altos, where the door is in the second from the left. We're gonna have 2 or 3 feet of light underneath that, but there is that back 2.5 feet. And then on the side for the columns, if you go back up, some lights that shine up and down, we take some lights to those ones, and then go back to the back between those. Back up to one of the new sides. Slide. There, those are the new sides. So we lowered the brick, gonna have, oil bathroom, white, pretty white, and we wrap around with white metal. And on the side, we're going to, that's the side that actually is going to be inside of the net. So it's so close, not a lot of people are going to see that. So the next one is actually the side that will be seen by the Broadway and the. So, I'm sorry. Delvin, right here. Matt is doing this. But yeah, that's a picture, so you can see there up there. But it's not gonna be with red, but for sure. So it's gonna be galvan white, red brick, soft and creamy version that I'm happy to see today. Oh, and on that, will be the ashtray, DRB. Let's not go there for this particular. So this is the back side, back side and the left side, and the one side, and then the corner. So we are doing now. We did have these 2 windows, one on the top was just for natural light, and the one on the side is just leather in that room. And
Looks good. Are we okay? Do you have a specific green you're wanting?
Tell us. which
Or do you want us to say,
Pick a green, Nancy.
or, I mean, but if we're acceptable of any of the greens, then
So
I think,
Any of those greens would be fine. with me.
yes.
we want it to be lighter. We don't want to go much darker. And I kind of like things on this side. And see like that's one thing.
Not it.
Yep, wait, this one, right?
No, the one on the outside.
Okay, you're thinking different.
One time moved here,
Call up a number.
go up one. Bingo.
All right, let's see that.
Wow.
Which one again do you guys like? Just because
Which one does he like?
We had a little vote.
Feel like this one. Or Scooby Starlight.
Went with this one. I really like the lighter one, but
Pick the one on the bottom and in the middle.
Right,
Well,
pick
the
it right
comprom-
there.
The compromise is 465.
Right, I agree.
465.
Go for it.
Okay. So this is it.
That's it.
465.
Okay.
Yep.
This one happens to mean something to me, so.
The other one's too dark.
It's pine forest.
The name got her.
Yeah. All right, so it's for.
All right, anything else you need?
No. Just now that we have a color, just need an overall approval and we're good to go.
All right, applicant is requesting final approval. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second,
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Excuse me.
Awesome. Thank you, you guys,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Next is the 918 West Fifth North Street.
All right, 918 West Fifth North Street. This is a request for preliminary approval for a proposed new commercial metal building. The applicant is requesting to build a new 52 by 85 metal building. There are 8 standard and 1 accessible parking spaces located to the rear of the building. A signage plan will be required. The location of any proposed monument sign should be indicated on the plan. The requested sidewalk has been provided and pedestrian connection made. All landscape materials proposed on the plan schedule must meet the minimum size at planting of section 8.7.1C. Materials shown in plan schedule are all smaller than required. The building is proposed to be a metal building with a brick veneer wainscoting increased from the originally proposed 36 inches to 48 inches. A front porch has been added and brick pilasters added to the front corners and side elevations, providing some relief for the facades. A canopy with brackets is proposed on the rear side with man doors. An overhead door is on the south side for deliveries. The windows have been replaced with faux shutters. Red standing seam metal roof is still proposed. Horizontal lap and board and batten siding proposed for the exterior walls above the water table and between the pilasters. Proposed elements are consistent with the design guidelines. So, do you want to start with the site or the building?
I think describe the site pretty good. If we want to just jump to the building, we can come back to the site if we need to.
I'm sorry,
We can go with the building.
we'll go with the building. Okay, well, my name, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Michael Greger with Black Order Studio. We're architects here in town. And the building is basically, it is a metal building. We certainly don't want it to look like a metal building. So we used, a lot of the hardy plank and the artificial wood shutters. And I think one of probably the most different thing about these elevations is we added a front porch to it, which basically gives us a street facade, which is actually the front of the building as far as visual, but the entrance is in the back where the parking is. So in the future, maybe when this sidewalk gets put down Highway 78, we actually might get some walk-in traffic, but there's no parking technically in the front of the site. But it's there for the aesthetics. We changed, the fencing. We went to a solid plank wood painted fencing. The color I don't think's been selected, but I would recommend like a black Charleston green or something like that instead of white. The colors on the building, we're going to have a red roof and white trim. Here's the samples if you want to see them. And the brick. Brick and wire cut red wall. Down the street. our application is asking for preliminary approval, but if the board feels like we're far enough along, we would like to get final because we'd like to push this project, as quick as possible because of we would try to get it open before July 4th. Is a big day for fireworks. This is a fireworks retail building. And, as such, it is listed as a high hazard because of what's inside the building. That's one of the reasons why, you don't see a lot of windows in this building because it just is incompatible with what the use is. No, and as far as windows are concerned, this is a metal building. If you wanted windows in the future, if you had changed tenants, it's easy enough to do. So. And that's basically it in a nutshell. We did change the slope of the metal roof, got a little bit higher pitch. And that's about all I can think of right now.
Do we have the other
Yeah,
elevation?
can you show us the other elevation?
No, that's
I
not,
want to see the first one he showed us, the color.
that's the old one.
That's the old one. Yeah,
Oh.
isn't that what you just asked me to show?
The other elevation, instead of the left elevation to the right.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
I
For the
thought you-
record, I did not do the conceptual design on that. I was called in after the first initial meeting. Matt called me up and said, "Hey, can you help us out?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, there's the east elevation. So this is what
There
you're
we
gonna see
go.
from the parking lot, right?
The south elevation is the parking lot.
And
The
east-
fencing is not shown for clarity, but it's on basically the left-hand side
But Michael,
of the entry there.
the east elevation is the one we'll see from the parking lot, right? Because
No,
The
that.
drive aisle
south
goes
is-
past it, yes.
South, the east is the side, the south faces the circle. There you go.
I think the only pushback, well, I think the building looks great. It's a vast improvement. It
Thank you.
really is.
Thank you.
So thank you for listening. I mean, it was much
Oh,
better.
yeah, and I forgot, these are the owners.
Yeah.
Rob and Eddie Ducat.
Thank you all for coming. I think the only pushback I'm hearing on the board, is red metal roof.
Don't like the red.
Don't like the red.
Well, yeah, what, the name? There you go. Red's in the name of the company, so that's kind of part of the image, I guess.
Do you have an alternative color you could put instead of the red?
Hadn't really thought about it, but
It's very bright. It's just as, it really doesn't. The building looks good, but the red looks inappropriate. It's too bright and it's too garish. So,
Rob, some other examples of red, who's in the close like this. I believe Rob Harlow, who did the original drawing, put some other examples there. It was just the branding of the building.
what do you suggest?
yeah,
You got the colors?
Charleston green, black. Maybe even a maroon color.
What if you did-
they want red.
What if the main roof were black and the awnings were red?
Here's a rust. It is a red family, but it's muted.
I like red because that's what they just put on Canara's old store on West Carolina Avenue. It's also at Canara's house, old Canara's house, new Canara's house.
Richard, you want? Yeah, this is called, colonial red versus patriot red. So this is.
Colonial, well, we felt fitting for the celebration of trees and that happened in 4th of July.
The red coats, you mean?
The red coats. Pretty good.
It's just a brand store. If you don't like the color, obviously, time is, as a family business, not a corporation, is of the essence to get open time. If you prefer another color, please let us know.
How about if you make it blue? Do red, white, and blue.
Oh,
No.
Happy black. Black. Ooh, so, yeah.
This,
So
and just
black.
a question, and it is just a question. The darker the color, is that not environmentally, is going to heat the building more air conditioning, is that how?
I don't think that's a concern anymore with modern HVAC and all that.
No.
It was back in the day, but Somerville, I know we disagree on this, but there was a study done. That Somerville is unique from other coastal communities in that we have black roofs. Right, but Somerville is known for black historically. Yes, there's, yeah, I'll show you the report. There's also reds out there, but Somerville's known.
Here's two gallons.
Silver. Galvalume is a silver.
Silver with red lines, is that acceptable?
Yeah, that's what we do.
Now, let's see, with the awning here,
All the doors, the facade front, we put a red awning over it, because we were asked to put a shop front on the road, even though it won't be used typically. And then you've got the entrance and the exit on the back, going to the car park, there, a red awning too.
That works for me.
and what about those front posts being painted red? No,
Well, traditionally, it should probably be better white.
It should be white.
yes.
Why it is?
All right,
Why
so
is it-
tell us what you want red. You want the awning red? All of,
Well,
any place
Let it-
on,
let's-
yeah,
here's
tell
our
us what
suggestion.
you want.
Much to allow.
Here's our suggestions for approval. The main roof is that silver Gabaloon.
Fine.
The awnings can be red. Paint the post white. We're done.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Agreed.
What about the other red, the subdued red? I mean, that, to me, that red's orangey red.
Can you show the colors again?
This one's much better,
Yeah, it's
and it goes with the galvanized much better.
Oh, maybe.
I want to see it, it'll be fine. That's it.
Yeah, it's just a different shade.
Oh, yeah, and for the record, I think they did some temperature studies on roofs about which color. And they found out it was the forest green that got the hottest, not the black. So just FYI. It's this dark green apparently absorbs more energy, so. Yeah,
They're asking.
Is there a motion on the floor?
No. We've got to look at landscape.
I saw in the notes where the landscape material wasn't up to spec as far as the sizes, and I'm sure Matt will take care of that when he gets back from Las Vegas. Rat.
I think the plant mix is fine. They just need the sizes need. to
Yeah,
match.
beef up the sizes.
Staff comments.
Mhm.
I'm okay.
And I did like the idea of the Charleston green fence.
Charleston, yeah, well, that's basically, about as close to black as you can get.
You don't think that would clash with the other color design, maybe white? More purple.
I think white's gonna look. I prefer Charleston green. I think the white can look dirty.
It'll splash and
It's in the back. Oh,
Yeah, and black tends to make
Oh,
things disappear a little bit,
Okay. All right, well, someone make a motion and we can have further discussion if needed. Or call for the motion. I think. They have preliminary on here. I would be comfortable with final.
I'll make a motion for final approval with comments made by the board plus staff's comments as far as they go with the site.
Can you clarify? The final.
color.
Color of the roofs, color of the
So the color of the roof was,
silver,
yeah,
Galvin.
columns white, the overhangs red,
The subdued red.
the fence,
Gonna vote.
Charleston green,
and staff comments.
and staff comments.
You know which colors we're talking about.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, he's got them all written down, right?
Okay.
Sir.
You better put
Yeah,
the red
the
color
red,
in there.
Tim, is a, what is that?
Colonial
Colonial red, yeah.
fitting.
Is there a second? There's a second to.
Will you show me the colonial, please? I just want to make sure, because it depends on how I vote.
This is the one we wanted, just bright red.
Right, okay, it's that one. Okay,
That brown
that's
one?
great. Thank you.
Toned down.
Thank you very much.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? Any further comment? Okay, I'll vote in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank
that
you.
was for final, right?
That was for final.
Wow.
Thank you.
You're done.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next is Low Country Fish Camp.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is a request for final approval of proposed outdoor seating area enclosure. Property zoned NB neighborhood business. This is the Low Country Fish Camp. This was previously at the board in December of last year. They requested preliminary and final, and that was denied. So the applicant is proposing to use vinyl panels with clear sections to provide visibility in and out of the seating area, which would provide additional weather protection to allow the outdoor area to remain in use during the winter. The applicant has provided slat panels to lower the level of the opening for the panels and provide screening for the heaters that have been added underneath the canopy. Previously, staff recommended the following conditions: that the applicant continues to work with the adjacent property currently being used for parking for the business to be rezoned from GR5 to an appropriate neighborhood business zoning. And two, that the screening panels should only be used seasonally and should not be used year-round to create a permanent enclosure. The first condition has been completed and the adjacent parking has been rezoned. The second condition would the staff would request that the second condition still apply. So this is the proposal, and I can turn it back over to Nancy to present.
Hi again. So this client, again, is getting cold and they want to put up the weather screens. They're going to be clear. But what you guys had asked also is to kind of do a little bit more to the structure. So this currently is kind of an older picture, but that basically is where we're at right now. The next picture I think is a little bit more updated, but the same. They've added the lights, they've added the canoe, and of course the heaters. So the fence is going to remain. What we are recommending is to bring down louvered black panels across the front. They would be about 6.5 to 7 feet wide with a divider between each one of those sections there. The next slide kind of depicts, oh, yeah, there you go. So each one, they come in like 6 to 7 foot, and to support it, we are going to bring down like a 2x6 or a 2x4 rather in the middle center section, and then we're going to connect the two, and then of course connect it to the posts that are there now. So the side also would look the same, except it's going to stay on the same. That's the slope side. If the next one, Tim, yeah. So same distance from the ground, and it'll be on both sides. So this is something they want to keep permanently, and they would be black. They will have a little bit of a slit to get some light through and some air. And the next slide kind of shows what it'll look like. We want to keep the brown stain that it already is. Something else that I didn't point out is that second fascia board, the second one down, is going to be added to give that. We felt with this added shields or panels, we wanted to give it a little bit more of a heading up there to give it a little bit more bulk and make it a little different than the posts. And we think it'll be a good look. And we hope you like it too. And then we also have a picture showing, that's the side. And the next one is just the simple clear weather barriers. And they would be on the inside of these black louver panels. And as I recall last time, the client supplier had a very bright blue on the bottom of their clear. So they have been told they cannot have that blue. They kind of thought it was fun to look like water, but the board didn't like it last year. So we're advising them they either go with the clear, and if it needs any type of border, it would be black. Year round. Yep. Yeah. And they're louvered open more so you can see light and
Be out of sight, though.
I have a feeling they want to take them down permanently. Butch,
Well, leave them down permanent. You want to
depends, I guess depends on how they roll up.
the cool and the heat or what?
I think during spring, summer, they need to take them off.
That makes sense.
Exactly what you can do. Some.
The
Yeah.
louver stayed with the clear.
Yes, louver stayed and any clear.
Roll up, go away in the
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah.
Spring and summer.
Yeah.
Spring, summer and fall, really.
Yeah.
But, cause they'd be a nuisance. I mean, it'd be hard to keep clean
And the louver will go.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it was pretty good. Good scheme.
We thought so too, and we still like the natural wood color that they have up there. It,
Boat stays?
we would like it to stay.
I'd like to vote. I'd like to have an airplane in the
That would be so. A swordfish. It is. I don't use this word lightly, but it's a campy kind of place. It's fun. If you go back, Tim, to the one where we did kind of a visual showing how it is with it. Up, down, up, down, down, down. There we go. So that's the actual real picture, and we kind of impose those on there.
Oh,
I think it looks better than what's there.
I
We
like
like it.
Miracle, they got such a successful business at that corner.
Oh, I know.
It's a miracle how successful that place is.
And people find ways to park
How
across the
well
street.
applications turned out.
It's a funky little building that
It is,
that's cool, you know? So,
it is. It fits the business.
And the original little store is still back in there,
mhm.
And it's,
real prominent.
it is so different from their other place. And you can tell that, you know, this one does have the boat lures and weights and stuff, and the other one is just a cleaner, different look.
Anything else you need to run by us?
No.
Is there, they're asking for.
He said final, but it says
approval.
preliminary.
Final.
I'll make a motion for final approval.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Look good.
Votes great.
Thank you very much.
Good. Let's continue this thing. All right, 709 North Main Street, the new salon.
I believe the applicant is here and he has somebody here via Zoom for the meeting as well. This is a request for final approval for the proposed renovation of the existing building for a new salon. The property is currently the vacant Red Pepper restaurant. The new owner of the former Red Pepper is proposing to convert the location to a new salon. The existing screened eating area and outdoor front patio will be removed and replaced. The front parking will be removed to bring the site into current zoning requirements. The existing detached garage will be removed and paved parking area will be restriped. The existing drive and parking do not meet the buffer requirements of the UDO. And the board can provide an exception to that requirement. Landscaping should be added as practical to attempt to meet the planting requirements for this redevelopment. The landscape plan had not been provided at the time of the report. I did get one. But there wasn't much added truthfully. So, this just highlights some of the existing trees that are adjacent. Based on the zoning ordinance, the UDO would require an 8-foot landscape border along this drive aisle, which appears there's space to do so. That would include trees as well as shrubs. This back border, looks like they're meeting the 8 feet, but currently has no landscape within that. This northern edge would not meet the required 8-foot depth with that sidewalk running parallel through the buffer. Border, my apologies. But that could be planted with some landscaping along there. So as it's kind of incomplete on the landscape side, but the plans for architecture are as shown. As I said, the architect is on Zoom and the applicant is here, and I can turn it over to them to discuss.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent.
So the floor is yours. Whatever.
We have Mike Nixon, the architect, here on and via Zoom. As our last, as my last meeting with you guys here, we took in consideration your comments, and provided you guys with some insight on those comments. With the existing infrastructure that's currently being utilized now, the landscaping plan would be kept, to me personally, as simple as existing. We're keeping the existing trees that are on the lot itself. I'm planting shrubbery where in pots, in being in mind that this lot is fully paved in concrete. So there's not really any, I would say, landscaping or dirt or greenery where we can physically plant anything. But I would provide with shrubbery, as you can see in the front areas, and keep the existing trees as noted there. The only tree that I would want to recommend to remove would be that cottonwood in the back. It's kind of overhanging the back lot and interfering with
So on this plan, the on the bottom side, there's an 8-foot with a dashed line. So that's the landscape buffer that's required.
yes,
But what you're saying is it's already paved from
Yeah.
property line to property.
Yeah, it's
Right.
already, well, there's concrete that stretches all the way to that property line. So there isn't necessarily a dirt, I would
Yeah.
say.
He's right.
or-
Is this drawing accurate or not?
It's accurate, sir. It's part of it.
Because you only got paving in the back, or like 6 spaces in the back. So from the back, you got 6 cars. Then you got the cottonwood in the very back. But you can come forward and landscape along that property. You got plenty of dirt to landscape
Yeah,
on that property.
There's-
From parking on forward.
From the existing wood building towards Main Street.
Bingo. Got it. No.
So the survey doesn't show it being concrete from,
yeah, I know it doesn't state that, but if you physically go there, like currently today, it's hey, I don't know if they did that. They obviously that when they did that it's existing prior to that, probably a lot, but it always.
it's got this asphalt drive aisle and then it's concrete on the sides of that.
Yeah, it's pretty much, they used, that, the pepper used that space that says asphalt, but really that to the right of it, it was, paved out.
Like broken up concrete, or
No,
gravel.
I would just say just like half done, you know, they try to.
It is about
Yeah,
half
try to
done.
make more use of that space and then you just pour concrete over it.
Okay,
It's true.
okay.
We need another survey. This plat was dated. When? Yeah.
2017.
July of 2023.
Yeah, that's, I just
So
recently.
then how could it be out of date? So,
That's the most current survey done. There wasn't any other survey done to.
I know, but it shows dirt there along that right property line.
Yeah,
And you're saying there's no dirt there.
so those trees are.
Yeah.
That's all, let's just say, there's rock or concrete up to those trees.
Gravel.
So the red pepper utilized that whole space, that corridor, you know, as parking or an entry.
Where this shows asphalt, is there asphalt there?
I would say it's not really asphalt, but it's more of a driveway type material.
This shows asphalt going to the back.
I think it's just busted up and really poorly done. And
Yeah.
It's a mess.
busted, it's probably-
Okay.
Okay, and Tim, would you go back to the site plan, please? So where it says new sidewalk, is that a new sidewalk or that you're reusing the old
So
sidewalk?
right there, what we're proposing is,
Are you pouring a new sidewalk?
no, so what we're proposing right there is I would say a breakaway or a definition of where people can walk safely. So when I restripe everything, that I can dedicate that section of the sidewalk.
So people can walk from the back up to the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a long, deep lot.
So it's really just painted.
I would.
It's like you're not putting in new paving.
No.
It's existing paving and you're just painting everything.
Yes.
Defining it.
So it's not really a new sidewalk.
Not a new sidewalk.
I think you can't see into that. Anyways. So I mean, I think we'll just let it fly and get rid of this thing, so we want to do that.
I'll look at it.
You would need to provide the exception to the border. With a redevelopment of the site, he needs to meet. And you know, he's removing the wood building on the side and adding new parking. So with that, with the addition of new pavement, we would consider that redevelopment. You need to, as much as practical, but the board would need to specifically provide the exception to the landscape border on those three sides, north, south, and east.
I don't think it's new paving though.
It's not new paving.
But if he's removing that building, is he just gonna be, are you gonna be pulling parking up into the old foundation for that wood building? I think we need to clarify that. How you're using this site, is it all new? Is it no new?
Yeah, so when, to my interpretation of the building, there's obviously going to be some disruption under that building. That we're gonna have to level out and to make it level to the ground.
What this, are you doing any resurfacing of that parking lot at all? Yes or no?
I would say if it comes to it, yes, we'll have to, because it's gonna be that. Just thinking about the foundation of possibly the garage, if it's for that wooden building, it's probably gonna have something under there that probably have to surface it to match the lot.
Yeah, so really the existing asphalt parking to be restriped is really not an accurate statement.
Why don't we get an accurate drawing? Have them come back with an accurate drawing, because this is all
Where
confusing.
it's marked, you know.
This is just not, these drawings are inaccurate. We need some accuracy. We need the drawings to be accurate.
This drawing is actually pretty accurate from the survey. I think I just need some.
Well, except for everything you said conflicts with what the drawing says.
What do you need clarification on?
I just want to make sure that, you know, what I'm saying is what you guys are seeing, because what I'm seeing is a concrete lot that existing, and what we're trying to accomplish is, you know, what we see there. I don't understand.
Well, the
Because
drawing we're looking at shows ample room to landscape on both property lines. Both side property lines and the rear property line. There's ample room to landscape.
Yeah.
And it's not showing any kind of paving or anything else. It's not indicating what is there. Grass, it could be broken up rock, broken up. Well, the drawing needs to be accurate. This is pathetic. This is not worth even coming before the board. You're just wasting our time.
do you have any pictures? It could,
Oh, the existing,
mhm.
yeah, the only thing I have, would be maybe at the top view of maps, but, I probably,
Well,
Look at that.
I think the issue is the drawings,
Just doesn't.
it's not, they don't appear to be accurate. So we don't know what the true condition is and what we should prove if you've met say, if your variance request is really warranted or not. That's the problem. There's no dimensions on the parking lot. Those all need to have dimensions. I mean, I understand this is an infill, but it might, sure you already have, but you might have to work with staff on kind of figuring out, just let them help you through this, because the drawings are a little bit confusing. I think, I mean, even the handicap, is that a handicap ramp back there?
It's a bizarre handicap ramp.
Whole thing.
You approach the ramp from the opposite way you leave the parking lot.
Yeah, I think unless you have a blow up detail of the ramp, it looks like it's backwards.
and you scroll down, there's the sheets inside and that elevation of what I'm proposing.
Well, they're, okay, that's different from the other plan.
It is different.
That's totally different. What are you gonna do with the grease trap?
Sorry?
You gonna take the grease trap out?
No, I'm gonna leave the grease traps in there. Instead. But that's underground, just a manhole on top of that.
Well, I know what a grease trap is.
All right, yeah. I'll look it up.
Okay, so this plan has the dimensions on. So the new,
Well, and it does talk about existing asphalt to be restriped. It doesn't talk about the sidewalk to be striped, though.
yeah, and less than 20 feet, 8.5 inches is not enough for 2 cars to maneuver.
No.
One at a time, so.
Well, you need minimum 23 feet.
I think town code's probably 24.
I think it's,
You can get by with 22.
I think you could get by with 22.
We allow it to go down to 22, if he doesn't make any changes to the site. I mean, technically, that drive aisle coming in should be 24 feet wide to allow two-way traffic. That is, and it needs to technically be a minimum of 20 feet wide for fire. Because it's an existing building, existing location, the fire marshal can allow it to stay the way that it is. But yeah, that 20 feet, and that's not even entirely, I don't know what is going on here. But 20 feet, 8.5 to that, I mean, that would be implying that you're
16 or something.
driving over this grassed area or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, again,
These dimensions in this back area doesn't match what was shown on the survey. And I don't have a problem with a redevelopment or infill development, but
I just
these-
don't like all
these-
the
they don't
inaccurate
look like
information.
they're not the same
Nothing jives.
from page to page.
But if you look at this drawing where it shows 13.2, how does that take account of the trees? There's a forest of trees along that property line that this drawing acts like they're not there.
Can I chime in here? This is Mike Nixon. The one that you have up on the screen right now, was a kind of a sketch survey. Yeah, it didn't have the survey at the time, so it was more of a sketch concept for the owner to see what we could get back there. The one that you all were looking at previously is the more accurate condition. So this is more of the concept. We wanted to get parking back there. If you go up, 1, 2, 3 slides, that is, the design development of that back area to fit as much parking in as we can on the existing asphalt.
So we don't need to be looking at it because it's totally inaccurate is what it boils down to.
Well, this old one is, yes, but the one that you're up above.
Well, let's get rid of this one and look at the one that's the most accurate.
Yeah, that's the current survey. And the setbacks there that are allowed, that are there. And then the hard line that you see there, kind of canting up is, that line of existing asphalt. And then on the other side towards the tree on Plan South is all the broken up gravel and old asphalt
So
line along there.
So this plan says it's the landscape plan. Where is the site plan? Is there a site plan?
Also, is the new addition being shown over the property line?
The overhang is, but you can be over with your overhang can be up to 2 feet over the property line. That's a lot.
Yeah, the building's a line in the plan. It's not over the property line.
So is there, let's one at a time. Is there a site plan?
There is not a site plan, other than what you see right there.
Okay. And then, so the site plan would also show accurately whether the building is over or not. Right? Because to Park's point, it looks like it's over, right? Yeah, it says, well, the roof overhang can't go over a property line. It can go into the setback.
2 feet. Oh, you're right, setback.
Setback.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The setback is the thing.
You're right.
Yeah. And so there's it's missing a site plan. It's really missing a landscape plan. And we're questioning the survey. Really. And we would assume that the survey is the most accurate piece of information. You would think, right? So, I mean, on that alone, and the handicap ramp is questionable on. Because this is showing us the site plan. Kind of, so the handicap, that's very important, the handicap. Showing that really works or it doesn't.
Well, the sidewalk beside the handicap ramp shown here is not 5 feet wide. As required by.
Right, yeah, looks like it's 2.5.
The other thing is, if there's a dumpster, that needs to be someplace, and maybe it's here and I'm just not
Or
seeing it.
if even if it's the pull-out cans.
Or is it a pull-out can? Do you know what you're gonna do about that? Pull-out can? Okay,
just in
thank
a
you.
Parking space or something,
Yeah,
or
so
behind it.
it'd be, we'll put it between, next to, the HVAC that's over there on the left.
Okay.
There's a side of the home that has.
So I think we have no choice.
Can't do it.
hang on a second. I think we have no choice but to deny it based on those site plan, landscape plan, the layout of all that. But I think we should go ahead and look at architecture as well, just so we can at least give you feedback on that. If you wanted to talk through the architecture stuff.
Sure.
But in the interim, I think you have to, plans typically would be done by a civil engineer. They have to be accurate, so you can 100%. We understand what you are proposing.
No, I mean,
Gotta have spot, like the handicap ramp needs spot elevations. All that, we need to know what the finished floor elevation is of the house, the finished grade of the building, and how that ramp works. And a blow up detail of all that. Just kind of your basic site stuff, but
yeah,
if you want to go over the building, that'd be great.
yeah, we can go over the building. Just keep in mind, I presented this building concept, the last agenda, and the process was to get this approved, and then everything else would kind of fall in line. I didn't want to do some rework on the back end if I had presented something to you guys and then I had to get Mike to redo it. So, hence the reason, so it was.
Another option is, and Tim, you correct me, but don't do anything to the site. Just do the building renovations.
Without the addition. Yeah, the addition, that's.
So
Okay, well, let's just
go to the building.
yeah, let's look at the addition that we're presenting to you guys. And I took consideration your comments on the last agenda.
Oh, go ahead. We're ready.
Go ahead, Mike, if you want.
Yeah, I'm ready. So the idea here was to take down the existing extended porch and the raised outdoor deck area, and try to bring back a more residential feel to this building, which is very significant with the brick facade. It has a very strong character. So what we wanted to do was bring some of that brick in through the base, but not try to emulate the actual house building 100%. So using a residential material, a hardy board and batten, we would clad the upper portion of the addition in that and just create more of a residential feel. If you drop down one more slide, it gives you a better feeling of what this would be like from the street view. So what it does is it starts to bring more of that street edge back towards the building, gets rid of that outdoor deck. That kind of creates a barrier to that. And that's really was the goal of this addition.
Can you talk about the materiality of what you're proposing?
Yeah, so we continue the brick base to match the existing house, so that red brick. And then above that would be a hardy board and batten siding. And then storefront windows. And then the roof would be the same asphalt shingle roof to match the existing.
And all of the existing buildings going to be painted white?
No, that was just rendered that way to kind of emphasize the new addition.
I have a question about the storefront windows. Have you considered the windows that are in the existing structure and having there be some similarity there?
Yeah, we can certainly make it match the existing. I think they're vinyl, so I didn't think that it had a really strong character. I thought that the storefront material just looked nicer in the addition.
I think if you're trying to make it more residential in nature, you need to really rethink the windows then.
Understood.
What are the chances of just utilizing the existing porch and putting windows in it making that work and tearing the deck off.
The porch is gone.
The porch is already gone.
Porch is gone already?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well,
There-
what's the
there wa-
response to the property, the addition being built over the property line then?
I think that's just a drafting error. So I'll fix that for next time.
Um. Describe the back too while we have you, Mike, if you could.
Yeah, again, bringing the platform, the main entrance, the brick base, continuing that brick material, then we'd have wood posts coming up to a gable roof addition. And so just kind of creating that same slope that is along the existing roof, matching that. And then utilizing the cable rail to keep it as open as possible. And I agree about the ramp just facing the wrong way. I tried to stick it in there and it didn't work. So we'll try to flip it to the other side.
So that back entry will be used by customers as well
Yeah, because we eliminated all the parking up front.
up front.
So
Okay.
the front is really just kind of to gain access down to that grade level patio, and then the main entrance and handicap entrance is at the rear instead of being at the front.
Being plainly, I'm not a real fan of the addition. I think it's a really, really cute little house that's there.
It's adorable.
Yeah, and with the addition, it doesn't look like it fits. It doesn't look like it was part of that house. It could be on another building somewhere else. I don't know if it should look exactly like it was part of the original house. I'm not necessarily saying that, but maybe it needs to be visually separated from the house. Maybe maybe you have this building on the additions on the front, and then there's this drop down roof or something, or kind of almost this hallway, or what do they call it, like an eyebrow or whatever between them, hyphen between them. And I think the drawings are really at a conceptual level. They're not at a final approval level. So there's a lot. We're trying to be helpful. We're trying to be cognizant of it's a small business, and it's tough to pull all this stuff together. But I think the architecture, the basic architecture or massing of the addition just doesn't look compatible with this pretty unique building. And I think this is covering up a cool building rather than enhancing a cool building.
And one of the problems is the existing roof looks like it's a special shingle of some kind, but it's disappeared, and the new shingles don't look special. They just look like 3-tab shingles, black.
I was hoping we had a picture, because I think that roof is not a standard shingle roof, the existing.
No, it's something else.
Yeah, I think it's just asphalt shingle from what I recall.
Okay. Well, it's got a high pitch. Architecturally, the massing is very different from the addition. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to match exactly, but this is like two incompatible styles next to each other, and it just is not successful.
I'd reproduce the old porch and make it the addition. With the shed roof like it's got, doesn't conflict with the old house that way.
Honestly, I think it may be best to move forward. It may be best to get with the architect and come up with some sketches and talk through it. I know last time you were here, I said Savannah Highway down in Charleston has done some great additions on houses very similar to this. But when you get closer to Charleston, almost to Charleston or the peninsula, but I think again, this is a really cool old building, one of the last ones like this in the area, and we're just covering it up and hiding it. So
All right, well, we thank you for your feedback and we'll work together, take a look at some of these, if you have specific examples of the additions along Savannah Highway that, you're looking to emulate or concept, that'd be great. Some are more modern,
Go down the road.
so if there's something specific you have in mind.
If you just drive down, I don't know what's down there, Gerald's or something like that, or Jean's.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, between Gerald's and the bridges,
Mhm.
there's probably half a dozen really good examples, and some of them look kind of modern, and it's a two-story, and
Yeah,
I'm not saying this needs to be, but it's just some architectural gems on the front of the building that look great. You know, it doesn't not necessarily have to be expensive, it's just needs to really enhance it, not cover it up. So
understood.
I think that's the best we can do for you right now. Appreciate your time.
So I have to make a motion.
Yeah.
So
The request was for final. You could defer. There's no reason not to if you don't feel like you have adequate information to be able to vote on the plans, that would be an appropriate motion. You could make a motion to deny final. It doesn't really matter per se.
Yeah.
We've kind of established that. I mean, it's not ready for final approval.
It's at a conceptual level, where they are. Right now, this is a conceptual
It
level.
was conceptual.
So, all right, up to y'all, but one of you could make a motion. It sounds like it's either denial or deferment. I don't know if it makes a difference.
Make a motion, we deny.
Second.
That's a second from Hart. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Hey,
Next is 429 Limehouse Drive, the Take 5 Oil.
All right, this one's, it's actually 385 Ladson Road. The 429 Limehouse Drive is the pump station behind, that remains on the property. This is a request for final approval for modifications to the required screening wall that was approved at the July 21st, 2022 meeting, for the 5-minute oil change. Staff realized that the screening wall was constructed different from the intended required solid continuous wall. Upon inspection, it was determined that the plans submitted for final DRB and permitting were slightly different, and that there was a difference between the civil set and the landscape plans. Staff did fail to note the change. As a result, the wall was built in 10-foot sections with 10-foot gaps, with the intent to fill the gaps strictly with landscaping. Staff does not feel that was constructed. Staff does not feel that as constructed, the screening wall meets the intent of what was approved and what the DRB thought was going to be constructed. As a result, the applicant has proposed to fill those gaps with a fence structure and the remaining landscaping to be installed forward of the filled-in gaps. The board can approve the plan as constructed or as proposed with the gaps filled with a screening fence material, or request that the gaps be filled with brick as was originally intended. The original plans from the July 2022 approval have been included for your reference. So this is what was built. Obviously, it's not a continuous wall. I noted it when I was pulling out of Wallace Ackerman Drive and saw these a different construction than what I thought I approved when I signed off on the building permit. This is the original set. And as you can see on the civil set, there was a continuous wall shown here on all of the various civil plans. And this landscape plan shows a continuous wall. I went back and I did verify, and I admit I did miss this. There was a change in between final DRB and the stormwater set that came through for review. And there's a dashed wall, but you can see that the landscaping fills those holes, and I didn't read it. And
It was their
So what do
obligation
they
to
want?
inform you of the change.
yeah, it changed. So to say the least, they had to reapply. I felt it was not appropriate, and this change needed approval by the DRB.
Okay,
What
thank you.
they want. Let her show us what.
So what are
they
you
want,
asking
but-
for then?
So thank you all so much for hearing us tonight. I'm Jessica Myers, C Baker Engineering. For this project, and what we're looking for is just how best to move forward here. I think what happened was when we came before y'all last time in July of 22, we came for preliminary approval, and y'all were gracious enough to go ahead and give us final approval at that time. At that time, we had fully vetted out what the knee wall was going to look like. We knew that needed, in order to satisfy the ordinance, it had to either involve screening or a fence, the wall height. We showed that continuous line height that you saw, kind of as a placeholder while we were still trying to figure that out. After we received final approval, we were still working with engineering. And that's when we resubmitted the TRC and updated plan to show the break of the wall with the landscape and infill. And the purpose for that was just trying to minimize impervious area. So we are just here to see how the board would like us in this scenario.
I thought it was just the continuous wall. Looks like there's some elevation, top wall heights are different, but I think it needs to be reconciled and make it a continuous wall, because that's what we thought we were approving.
That's what we always do.
But could there be
Can it-
something between it that is of a different material that would work or not?
That was our suggestion. If you notice a little schematic wall detail, we suggested using like a composite Trex board to infill. It would match, it would be the same color as the brick. So it would just kind of give a little extra texture between, and then the landscaping that was originally proposed would just be brought in front of that. So you get the brick with the composite board and then the landscaping all in front.
Are you saying the landscaping will not function if it's a solid brick wall?
No.
Yeah, what is your reasoning?
The reason is just because the walls have been constructed into 10-foot spans right now, it would be very difficult to go back and infill with more brick. It probably wouldn't look very good. It would look segmented. So we are proposing the composite board to kind of blend it in, make it look, still achieve the continuous wall look.
Make it look intentional.
Make it look
I'm in favor
intentional.
of that.
And
But-
again, the color would match the brick.
Mhm.
You have like that different texture, they'd be the horizontal boards you see running there. Posts would be hidden internally, so it'd be that flat front, continuous.
The only problem is any kind of wood fence is temporary.
This would be, this is Hardy.
Trex is temporary. too.
Trex is Trex not Hardy?
Trex is pretty good.
Trex is not composite, it moves all over the place.
It does move.
Professional linear expansion
Yeah.
on Trex is tremendous.
We could certainly supply a different product.
I mean, treated lumber is gonna do it.
Sure.
It rots away.
Oh, yeah.
We could certainly
Put
put
a lattice wood fence.
lattice brick. We could certainly fix it. We can certainly look at that. Alright.
Or we just need a single wood brick.
certainly take that to the contractor.
So when I hear lattice, I hear flat.
That's correct.
And it is a lattice.
Certainly explore that again with what's already been built out there. I'm not exactly sure how that would look as an engineer, not the architect to make it look good. So, we would certainly want to, you know, investigate and see if that's possible.
You're gonna be a little bit of a challenge, because I thought I saw your top wall heights are not the same.
That's why the lattice is well.
But does the lattice not defeat the purpose of having a solid screen wall?
Well, they got a solid screen in the gaps of landscaping.
Well, just to be clear about
That's how
the
they're
landscaping that was intended to go in there, it was intended at full maturity, it would be completely in the, like, it would be the height of the wall, it would be a thick, dense hedgerow. That's what was intended and on the landscape extension.
Tim, can you go back to the pictures?
Unfortunately, these pictures were taken obviously for a landscaping.
Those wall heights are the same.
Yeah, look at that. There's a difference.
Talk about the far end.
Yeah, the far right.
Doesn't even have.
Well, the far right doesn't match. It's different.
Yeah, it's like,
But you can work that out with a lattice type wall a lot easier, make it look better. It's not even in line. That section of, two sections of wall.
They have not installed the landscaping. They provide a landscape bond for the materials that were not installed because of this. So there will be additional landscaping installed out front as well.
Correct. The landscape would not change. It would just get shoved. And
Yep.
You would have room because you'd only be 4 inches wide with the lattice wall as opposed to 16 inches wide with the brick walls.
why don't you just tell them to break it like it was done, and they gotta figure out how to do it.
I think the lattice would look better.
The lattice will be better.
That's an option too, but as long as they've gotta figure out the wall heights.
That's easy with the lattice.
But it's still a brick, right?
Yeah.
So what precautions
Just
does
cut
it
the
line up?
bottom one off.
So what? It's lattice. It's totally different look. So you can do totally different things with it.
Why don't you give them an alternative to do the lattice or the building?
Yeah, do the lattice, or fill it in like per DRB approved, DRB approved plans.
I think that's all you can do, really.
Or fill it in solid
With what?
with brick.
Yeah, that's,
With brick, that's what I mean.
Well,
by
just
filling
one
it.
course, not 3 courses.
And Tim, I don't think we have any of the.
Right now, they're 16 inches wide. You can make the wall 4 inches. Either lattice or solid brick.
Lattice, brick, or solid brick with the landscape.
Yeah, but only 4 inches wide, not 16 inches.
4-inch,
one brick.
one brick lattice. Or fill it in with a 16-inch hole.
Or
Or you could do
solid
it
brick,
solid.
4 inches wide. Just stay or lay the brick like a brick veneer.
So it's still one brick.
Single width
But
is
instead
brick.
of having missing bricks, it's be solid brick. See, it's on a
Single
curve,
On the outside.
it's on a curve.
Yeah.
Or
So I don't think the fencing would actually work, because it would look chamfered.
Oh, the fencing ain't gonna perfect. Yeah, not very well.
So I think it's.
But just so that I'm clear, the board would be okay with, even if it's solid or lattice, 4 inches thick.
Yeah.
Understood.
Or 8 or 16. Be flexible.
I appreciate y'all being flexible.
But I think if you're gonna do a change in fill, probably color brick.
no, one of these.
Same color.
Okay. Any other thing on your behalf? Jessica?
No, thank you so much.
How do we give them final?
I
Unless we know what they're
I think
doing.
we have to do, the only way we could do it is either deny it or final approval pending staff review.
Bingo.
Is
Or a
it in
committee,
that?
or you could bring it to a committee.
Well, you just gave them options. You said it could be a solid, a pierced, but it has to be a brick infill. So you could give final approval, brick infill, dot, whatever you choose, however you choose to
And brick.
execute it. And you could say staff can approve, but it has to be a brick infill of those spaces. Yes, okay.
Final, so we're asking for final approval with those three options. Right? Yeah. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
thank you.
All right, I guess that's it.
No one new business.
All right.
All right, you're up.
So the last item on the agenda, but the first item under new business is 603 West Fifth North Street. This is a request for a proposed new 5,000 square foot office building. They're requesting conceptual review. The property is zoned neighborhood mixed use. This is a former residence, as we just established. Neighborhood mixed use has a 5,000 square foot limit on tenant space per building. The building shown on the plan is broken into 3 sections. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. 2 end units with 2,025 square foot footprint and a middle section of 1,200 square feet. Combined, the 3 sections have 5,250 square feet, which exceeds the maximum permitted square footage. If there were separation spaces between these sections, we could allow it, but it's a 5,000 square foot limit on the total square footage. So think about the office buildings that we approved in front of those townhomes a little bit further down on 78. Those were originally proposed as like 10,000 square foot. They separated it, made it 2 buildings, and it was good to go. So there will be some revisions on this, obviously, but it is conceptual review. The intent of the 5,000 square foot limit is to break up massing and keep the proposed structures at a neighborhood scale. The notes on the square footage of the building should be cleaned up to reflect accurate square footage of the proposed buildings. A landscape plan is required. All landscape islands must meet the minimum size requirements of section 8.5.3. A lighting plan and a signage plan are required. All unused drives should be removed. It should be verified that the plan is taking into account the Highway 78 widening project. 45 parking spaces are proposed, which far exceeds the minimum parking requirement of 2 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. This would account for a requirement of 10 total parking spaces, and bicycle parking should also be provided. Architecturally, smooth hardy plank horizontal lap siding is proposed. The drawings show a standing seam metal roof. No specifications have been provided. Drawings appear to show standard storefront window systems, but no specifications have been provided. A building material specification and color sheet should be included in the next submittal. Mike is here, and I'll turn it over to him.
Yes, good evening. My name is Mike Taylor. I'm the owner who wants to develop the property. I used to own 605 next to it. State Farm would be, and to the left, I own 607, the duplex that I fixed up. There's a chiropractor. As a matter of fact, he's the one who's looking to purchase this development from me. He's going to take up the right and middle space, which is going to be 3,000 square feet, and the left unit will be the other 2,000 square feet. I had originally drawn this up with a two-story structure, then come to find out 5,000 was limit. So I do need to revise the site plan showing, footprint of the building, but 2 end units would be 2,000 square foot each, with the center being 1,000. Really, you're not gonna notice any of this in the elevation. And the elevations that I have drawn and proposed here actually have been scaled down, I believe, to keep this 5,000. So I need to update this footprint on the building, elevation that I have, presented. I believe that to 5,000. The parking area, I put this together really between myself and a draft. I was trying to save some money on the civil, so I got flow arrows, I got the setbacks, I've talked with DOT, I've talked about encroachments, the driveway coming in. I do have the engineer working on the site plan with me. And so we are going to be adding some retention, obviously stormwater runoff on the site, which I don't think we're going to end up with anything massive of a retention pond. This project it's right at an acre. We are going to have some sort of gravel, I think, or some sort of pervious material that's going to be used in the parking area. So try to mitigate them as well.
One thing, Tim made a comment on the, islands, need to be bigger, basically not, I think the dumpster, might be careful because I don't think a dump truck can get around. The parking, just pull straight in, I don't think he's got room to make the loop.
Right. And I think this is where definitely the civil engineer is gonna help me. I was trying to put something together to promote the project. Yeah, all good things.
Yeah. Yep. My preference, what for yours is instead of the sidewalk being right up against the building foundation, better, it looks better if it's pulled out.
Move about 3 foot out.
Or 3 to 5, 3 minimum.
3 minimum.
So you put a row of shrubs between the parking lot or the sidewalk and the building. Perimeter sidewalk. Initial thoughts.
I would go with the same size building as drawn, because this is not a residential neighborhood on Highway 78.
Right.
The 78 going to 4 lanes and everything else. So I would leave the buildings the same size, but I would reduce this to 25 parking spots. And we need a tree survey probably. Gonna need that.
Tim, did you say it is in compliance with 78 widening?
Yeah. Darn it. This was on, hold on. Prior plans have utilized 25 feet from the existing property line. That's 20 to 25 feet is what DOT has been telling most of the new developments through the corridor that they'll be taking off the front of their property line. Probably want to be 5 feet at least off of that. I believe you're at 27 feet to the front of the building. So there might be some, you said those back parallel spaces will probably be going away. Well, you're probably gonna need that space just to move it back just a little bit more, just in case, you know, we'd hate. Neighborhood mixed use. 0. Yeah, it could go down to 0 with neighborhood mixed use. Technically, no. Correct. And you guys can ask for whatever you'd like.
And he has to go before the tree board as well.
Yes, I would, he has not applied for a tree removal permit yet. But judging by the sizes of the trees that are there, this should probably go to tree protection board. I don't know without having seen any grades on the trees. Have you had them graded by an arborist? Okay. That, you know, maybe 1 or 2 of these trees might be trees that the tree protection board would want to preserve. And they might tell you, Mike, to massage your plan to save a tree specifically. Arborist hasn't looked at this one yet. So my recommendation would be get that in as soon as possible. In between now and your next DRB submittal so that they can go at the same time. We're trying to get tree protection board involved earlier so that if there is something on here that we're unaware of and they can identify it, we can design around that as opposed to going, oh, well, and we just lost a spectacular specimen. Yeah. So, but yes, that would definitely be the next thing you're probably gonna want to do.
Can we change, we give them permission for more about that?
No,
Okay, so.
you'd have to apply for a variance.
Right, and we're perfectly fine with that.
I think site-wise, conceptually, I think you're pretty close. You're probably gonna have to do some tweaking, look at the overlays, look at your trees. The islands that they mentioned, but I mean, there's nothing there that makes me.
One, it's just something we've done in the past. Holly Road. There used to be a front buffer setback or front buffer requirement. And we just preserved the trees in the front. So we got the full about. But trees are in there. Beyond that, there may be. Maybe someone.
Right, and on this line, unfortunately, there's no grand oak trees. There are pine trees. You know, all of that, there's no large grand oak trees, and the good part, you can see on it's cherry trees. There are quite a bit of trees around the perimeter. Not looking to level the lot line.
And he did take into account the required 15-foot buffer. That's why I did not call that out because to the north is GR5 zoning. So he does have the appropriate buffer taken into account there. And as long as he leaves those trees in there too, you know, that's a great way to maintain some of those trees. And we would field verify that he's meeting the number of trees that are required in there and then see where he needs to fill in.
I get told. So, I mean, obviously I'm gonna change the windows, and I know last time when we started, but we've now looked at these. Are we away from this is too beachy or with those materials we talked about? I did want to go a little beachy with it,
I
so,
think we all like this.
yeah,
I think the perspectives made it look beachier
okay.
than the elevations, so.
Yeah, but when you change out your windows, they're gonna be
I think it's gonna
with
have a
grids
cushion.
in it. It's gonna totally make it look different. Yeah. Okay. You're bringing them up some.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Great. Fish camp has good food, that's why. people-
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
If you knew how
absolutely
many
right.
times they've been here.
It's kind of funky. It's fun.
It is fun.
Yes.
It's appropriate.
Yes, they do.
Sure do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
In 30 days or whatever.
Well, you
30
got short, you got short term,
We'll have to get this summer right.
generally it's hard to do it.
Yeah, right.
Like next week, you got something.
I'm gonna call them.
Thank you.
You were the one we approved and you weren't here. Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Let's go.
third.